Do you want more finger independence? What if I told you you already have it? If you can type, you have finger independence. You're out here with your fingers flying across the keyboard, typing up emails, leaving YouTube comments, hint, hint, maybe even overusing exclamation points. That's okay, I do it too, without even thinking about what finger goes where. So why is playing piano so much harder? Well, we can blame Mother Nature. See, our fingers weren't designed for playing the piano, or really even for typing. They were designed for gripping, not delicately executing Mozart or Chopin, or even Billy Joel. But the wonderful thing about our bodies is that we can train them to do all kinds of amazing yet unnatural things. So you've already trained your fingers to fly on those computer keyboards, and now we're going to talk about how you can transfer those same skills to the piano. And instead of fighting your hands, we're going to work with what they do naturally. Let's talk about Kaizen. If you haven't heard of it, Kaizen is a Japanese philosophy of continuous improvement. Tiny, almost imperceptible changes that add up over time. This is really the reason some people seem to improve almost effortlessly, and others, well, they're stuck grinding away at Hanon, but we won't talk about that here. Many people think that they need to make huge leaps in improvement in their playing, and I can't say I blame them because there are so many videos and courses and books that are aimed at trying to convince you that you can go from beginner to pro overnight. And so when people learn to play piano, they try to master everything at once. They try to force their fingers into submission, make awkward movements that lead to having less control instead of more control. And then usually they will come to a hard wall on what they can do and probably stop playing piano altogether. But there's a better way that actually works. And because I'm your best piano playing friend, in this video, I'm going to show you how you can make one small improvement at a time to really learn how to move your hands at the piano. Now, these micro adjustments, they won't seem like very much at first, but if you do them consistently over time, they will transform the way your hands move at the piano. All right, let's get into some actual exercises that will make a difference for you. And don't worry, I'm not going to tell you to do 5 hours of scales every day. No. All right, so we're going to do something you're probably not expecting. Instead of doing more, we're going to do less. You really have to do this with me for it to work. So we're going to start with learning how to relax the wrist and how to use gravity to help us relate to the piano. I want you to raise your arm slightly above the keyboard or your lap if you're not near a piano. And I want you to hold your forearm steady, kind of parallel to the floor, and to drop your hand. I always tell my students, imagine it's just a dead fish flopping there. Right? So you can flop it back and forth. I know it's weird. That's my right hand. I'm going to do my left hand. Same thing. If you are left hand dominant, you probably won't need to work as much on your left hand. But if you're not, you're going to need to spend more time with your left hand. So basically, I just want you to flop. I know. Remember I told you it wasn't going to look like much. But what I want you to get into your body is the feeling of letting go. Because the more you can let go, the more free you will be to play your fingers, have them coordinate. All right, so now if you've got the flop down, we're going to just let the arm drop into the piano. It's going to make a big sound, or on your lap, it's okay. So I don't want you to hit the piano, but I want you to just drop like that. For my students, when I teach them like in real life, next to one another, I usually put my hand underneath their arm like that, and I tell them to let go, and then I take my hand away. Remember, I said it's not going to look like much at first. You actually have to do it. Let's try the left. So you can even do it yourself. Take your hand and just kind of wobble your other arm, and then let it go. Probably what's going to happen at first, if you've never done this before, is your body is going to go into like a natural holding. So if you're here and if I let go, your body's going to hold on, but we want to let it go. You already know how to let go. Like if you're sitting around watching TV or something, you're not holding your arms like that, right? They're just kind of flopped down. Okay, so you're going to practice that. So you want to practice that until it feels like, okay, I get it. I'm letting go. I'm using gravity, letting it pull me into the piano. That's the first step. So now that we've learned how to drop into the piano with zero effort, we're going to learn how to actually use the fingers with that same concept, right? We don't want to play piano like that. Little kids don't mind though. All right, so I want you to now put your fingers, I'll put it here, anywhere at all. Just have one finger on each key. I'm using G, A, B, C, D. And I want you to touch all of the keys, just with your fingertips. Touch the keys and just kind of wobble your forearm side to side, up and down. And if you are moving and your hand is coming off the piano, that means that you don't have a relaxed wrist. So let those tendons, your muscles, and all that just kind of flop like you were doing up in the air. But now you're here on the piano. Remember, it's small, incremental changes that add up over time. Let's do that with the left hand. So any notes at all, it really doesn't matter. I just want you to put one finger on each key. Make sure you can feel the contact of the key with your skin. Now we know that these fingers, if you don't know the number, it's 2, 3, 4, 5. They can be round at the piano, but your thumb really can't be round at the piano. So we play it on this side, just, an FYI. Now, let's wiggle the arm. Again, if you're coming off the keys, it's because your wrist is tight. Well, what do you do if it's tight? How do you relax it? Okay, if you're not able to relax it here, it's probably because you didn't do this thing. So go back. All right, what's next? I can touch the keys, I can do this. This is not playing the piano. That's true. It's not. But it's a super important skill to have that allows you to play the piano. Okay. Sorry, I get excited about this stuff. So now we're going to talk about controlled movement at the piano. And controlled movement comes from doing less, not from more. Many times I see people who have taught themselves, or maybe they've not had good teachers, will move their fingers a lot up and down. We don't want that. We want to touch the key and we want to fall into the key by using the gravity that we talked about earlier and the relaxation in the arm. Then you lift it again. See that? Every time I lift my wrist, I'm picking up the weight of my arm. And every time I fall in, I'm letting that gravity pull me down. Remember when we were touching all the keys at the same time? We're still doing it. So notice we're just adding on. We're not really changing very much. We're adding one skill to another. Let's try that with the left hand. I'm going to go down here, C, D, E, F, G. All right, let's start with the first finger. So you want to lift the wrist. What you're really doing is lifting your forearm, yeah? And because your wrist is so relaxed, it's bending. It's allowing it to flex. Flex? I don't know. All right, lift your forearm, relax your wrist, and now drop the weight into your thumb. While you hold the thumb, lift your arm, your forearm, drop into the second finger. You're really working on your finger coordination, which is really what finger independence is. Finger independence, like the truth of it, is learning how to coordinate the fingers with one another. Because let's face it, they're all connected, right? Like you can't really have an independent finger. They all are together. So finger independence is learning how to coordinate the fingers. Now, you might be staying on this particular exercise where you're lifting your wrist every time for a while. It's not complicated, but it's so different from everything else that you do in life that your body might take a little while to actually incorporate it. You understand up here really fast, but then you have to teach your body what to do. We call that practice. The next step here is to now smooth out that wrist, because obviously if you're playing a fast passage, you're not going to, wobble your wrist on every single note. That doesn't work. So before you can, between this and this, there are a few steps. So I'm going to show you the first major step. We're going back to our exercise, this one, okay? But now, instead of lifting the wrist between each finger, we're going to think of the 5 fingers as a group with a curve. Here's what I mean. I'm going to first lift the wrist and fall in. Now, did you see that? I lifted the wrist here and I brought it back down. Look at my wrist. I'll show you with my left hand. You see, the wrist has to always be fluid. You wouldn't think that the wrist is directly responsible for finger independence or finger coordination, but it really is, because if the wrist is tight, nothing else can move freely. So this part might take you a while because, again, you're asking your body to do something you've never asked it to do before. So how can you use Kaizen for all of your piano practice? Notice small improvements, not just those big aha moments. The aha moments, the big leaps, they happen once in a while, but most of the time, you're going to get 1% better each day. And if you can get 1% better at each practice session, that is a huge step forward, because imagine what you can accomplish in a year or even in a month. You're going to keep your practice sessions short but focused. Consistency is much better than intensity when it comes to piano. And be patient. Mastery is not built in one practice session. It takes time. And that's how you actually get better at piano, gradually, without you ever really realizing that it's happening. So here's your homework. Start with the first exercise I showed you in this video and let me know in the comments, what did you think? Was it too easy? Were you able to do it right away? Was your body saying I don't know what you're talking about? Now the next step after this is to learn how one simple scale can show you how to master 6 piano skills. What? Yeah, it's true. Go check it out over here. Keep practicing, have fun, and I'll see you soon. Bye.